episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
So today we're going to be talking about all kinds of comic books, but before we do, a little bit of house cleaning. So make sure, before we get started, to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and of course, check out everything else that we have here at Comic Pop. We just released a big episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which is basically 3 whole back issues in one, shorter than a regular episode of back issues. This week, we talked about 3 different Spider-Women, none of whom were Jessica Drew. Apologies to the Jessica Drew fans out there. She'll get her due one day.
She'll get her Drew.
She'll get her Drew, her Jessica Drew. But yeah, also follow us over on twitch.tv/ComicPop to see Tiffany play video games and stream out Elden Ring. Seems like it's just the Elden Ring channel now.
I'm trying, listen, you know what it is? I keep thinking, like, oh, all right, this is the week I'm going to jump into because I want to play the Evil Dead game. I'm like, this is the week. And I'm like, but I just want to do this one more thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm never going to finish this game on stream, but like, I'm just like, oh, just one more thing. Just one more thing. That's what this game does to me.
Yeah. You could also play the Ninja Turtles game.
Maybe we did that.
Really?
Not on stream, but with you.
Yeah, we beat it to ourselves. The other thing I wanted to mention was, of course, don't forget to subscribe to youtube.com/ComicPop, the main channel where it all came from. And keep an eye out for more fun things that are coming out from the brainchild of both myself and Tiffany here, who's responsible for more than a bit of this channel's and all of our creations video content. I also wanted to thank the people in our community tab. This is over here on this channel. If you're watching it live, or if you're watching it after the fact, actually on this channel, you click the community tab. I did a breakdown of what the schedule is going to be like for the summer schedule, the unofficial, official summer schedule for ComicPop Returns. Off the Rack remaining unchanged. The main thing that we hopefully will change, and it's really contingent on other people's availability, is just we're going to try and integrate some of our creator interview ideas into this show. You may have seen, if you're a big fan of this show in particular, you may have seen a couple of episodes where we've had like Chip Zdarsky or other characters come on halfway through the show and they pimp their project. And usually we just talk and have a little fun for about 10 minutes. We're going to try and make that kind of like the main focus of our creator interviews, unless we have a huge creator that wants to come on and pimp a project, in which case, you know, the sky's the limit. You know, it's all contingent on other things. The other thing is Elseworlds Exchange, our other live podcast. That's going to switch out. We're going to be doing it bi-weekly. That is to say every other week. So this week, no episode of Elseworlds, but the following week, episode of Elseworlds. And that's it. Also, no bonus episodes of Elseworlds. So if you... if you caught the last 2 episodes of Elseworlds Exchange, we released 2 extra episodes. We had an episode where Ryan Stegman and friends came on, and we chatted about Vanish and other comic stuff. That is out. We also had Jason, a long-standing friend of the channel and occasional guest star. He was on, and he and I chatted about Star Trek movies for a little while. Yeah, that was a fun episode, and it was not. Neither of them were terribly well trafficked, but
whatever.
You know, we were happy to make them, but it also is indicative of like what people expect from this channel, and we don't want to make things you don't want to watch, and we also don't want to hurt our own bottom line. So it's a little bit of a tightrope walk where we're trying to be creative and be like personally satisfied while also making something that you want to watch, and make sure that we can continue to do this professionally. We also want to say that this show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you're watching the show live, you can sponsor today's episode by using Super Chats. As a question or comment here on the show, we'll read it here on the program. Like, for example, these fine gentlemen, like or people. You know, I don't want to pigeonhole them.
These fine folk.
Lee Allen says, Sal, do you have a favorite single issue of Spider-Man? Tiffany, do you have a favorite issue of Doctor Strange? Love you guys. Tiffany, do you have a favorite issue, a single issue of Doctor Strange?
Not like I know you have for Spider-Man, because I was like pre-game this a little bit. I was like, does Image Symbolic count? It's not really, because it's really an OGN, but I guess like, I mean, there's been plenty of amazing single issues, but like when I think of Strange, I think of like the overall story.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I do enjoy when he runs into Ghost Rider. It's, you know, it's Danny Ketch, and it's just 2 ridiculous characters running into one another.
Right, 2 very you might say flamboyant characters.
They're different in their own way, in their own like.
Oh, absolutely, in their very distinct way.
So I just kind of I really enjoyed that. Maybe it's just because of Ethan reacting.
Oh
to
yeah, the Bridge of Bones.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just.
But it's Ketch and Steve. It's not bad. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, for me, it's a toss up. I love, you know, I like a lot of the Straczynski run. I really enjoy the conversation. I really enjoy DeMatteis's issue of Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man, where it's basically the jumping off point for Spider-Man. May's dead, Ben Reilly's dead. You know, new things are happening. Luke Ross did the art. It's a really fun issue. I have actually an original page of it in the ComicPop library. I can't remember the name of it or the issue number, but you'll find it.
Yes, but I do have a page.
But I do have a page from it. But yeah, so that's some of my favorites. The other one I will say, I love looking at it. Every time I'm just like, oh my god. And I don't look at it a lot, but when I do, I'm like, it's Spider-Man #1 from McFarlane. Every once in a while, I'll just look at it and be like, damn.
That's fair.
Brian Rowland says, Behind Off the Rack, GBU is one of my favorite shows from the ComicPop crew. On another note, when the hell did Wonder Girl get so miserable? We'll get to that because I did actually end up reading it.
Did you? I dropped off of that once. I won't lie. Like I hate to say it, like the art changed, kind of.
No, this is just a solo issue. This is a tie-in for Dark Crisis. There's no explanation. There's every explanation as to why you didn't read it.
Hang on. I know I'm reading Dark Crisis with you. I'm on this ride with you. I didn't know that came out this week. Should I be reading these tie-ins?
Absolutely not. Okay. You don't have to read a single one of them. You're good.
I want to be on board with you because I like the conversations we have about that series.
Yeah. Do not worry about it.
Okie dokie.
Ray Farr, Tiff, I got my PS5 and didn't get robbed or killed. I also really enjoyed the newest GBU. Julia Carpenter and Mayday Parker are my two favorite Spider Women.
That's
nice.
Also, I won't lie. I honestly, I definitely remember this conversation. I don't remember what the person's name was that you were going to purchase it from, but we all knew in chat from Twitch that, if Ray didn't come back, we had to go find this person from Facebook, and I'm hoping the rest of the chat remembers who that person was.
Right. Well, they back you up when you went on live.
When we went, when we had to go on our manhunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, my Twitch XMen.
That's right. That's why you should be following twitch.tv/ComicPop. Joshua says, sad to hear about the interview changes. Those are some of my favorite videos, but you got to do what you got to do. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Joshua. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, they're not going away. People were really, it's funny how many people, certainly more people commented they were going to miss their interviews than actually watch the interviews, which was frustrating, to say the least. But I'm very happy to see that some people actually enjoy those things. I enjoy making them, and I think there's a handful of you that really enjoy watching them. And it doesn't mean that they're going away. In fact, it's only going to get modified. The point is, I was so struck by how poorly some of them have performed in the past and in the recent past that we're gonna cool off on them a little bit, and we're gonna try and come up with a way to make them more palatable. Because the reality is, and there are a couple people who are very honest, brutally honest, you might say, about their feelings about creator interviews. Actually, none of them in the chat or in the comments. There was one Reddit post a couple of years ago that was like, could you just stop doing those? And it just straight up just don't anymore. And I'm like, no. But some folk are just like, I don't care. Some folk were like, I don't want to know how they make comics. Like someone literally said, I don't want to know how they make comic books. Like I'd rather just read them. I never want to know what goes into them.
I'd rather just imagine that they are grown, not created.
Yeah.
Like that they go to the farm and they them and they put them out.
Exactly.
So it happens.
That's right. But I also wanted to take this opportunity before we get started, because we are going to get started. And I promise we're going to get into a bunch of books. But Tiffany needs to talk about Comixology and why Comixology is just constantly fucking up.
Okay, so this is not a Comixology issue. This is an Amazon issue.
Right, but Comixology is owned by Amazon and wouldn't be the way it is if it weren't for Amazon.
Okay, so there's a couple of things that have happened. You know me, I even after the switch over, I was still using Comixology as my go-to. I'm a little lost right now, and I'm not sure where I'm going to.
It's going to be really tough to figure it out. I mean, we could just go to the comic book store and get them.
I know, but I like the digital space keeping as opposed to the physical space keeping.
Yeah.
But so a couple things. One, this is less a them issue and more something happened with Google. I honestly didn't get a chance to look into this, but apparently Google changed something in which the Comixology/Amazon app could no longer allow the purchase of books
through the reader,
through the actual app itself.
Yeah, sure.
So you couldn't do that there. So that's across the board. So if you try to purchase a floppy
book
or a Kindle book, you can't do it through the app. You have to do it from the site instead,
right?
Which you can still do from your phone, right?
Yes.
So you can do that. So that was where it started becoming annoying for me, because it was I'd have to go into into my browser first, find the books. Now, at least from the browser, you can still do that thing where you can sort it by the actual month, but occasionally I won't see things in there that should be there, but it hasn't happened in a bit.
Yeah, just keep adding barriers to entry.
And then I discovered something that honestly I didn't think about at all, but We are a household that has like we have one Amazon Prime account. We're not gonna have.
I'm not going to pay for 2 Amazon Prime accounts.
We don't need that, right? So like
it's all going to the same house.
It's all going to the same house. So that's something you need to know. One, is that
2, we pool our Amazon cards.
Yeah, so like if we have gift cards, they just kind of go in there, right? So that's the second thing you need to know, which means that we have a balance of gift cards in there. If you are purchasing things through Amazon and you're in a similar situation, just know that one click purchase, which is the only way you can do it for books and for comics.
When you buy a comic book on the Comixology reader, you can't select your option for how to buy the book. It just says one click.
Yeah, that's it. And so, but what will happen is, even though within the settings in Amazon you can turn off one click across the board, you can't do it for that. And one click will always go to that gift card first.
Yes.
So whoops, I found out that I've just been spending that down.
It's just been depleting the cards. And it's like, what if you're building up a balance? What if you're trying to buy something with
that? Or what if you have like, it's like a family account and like you're using someone else's, I don't know. I wasn't a fan of that, and it's just such a simple thing to fix.
Yep. But because it's such a simple thing to fix, we know they won't do it, because they could have fixed all of it by just rolling back to the original e-reader that had been in place for years before they made the switch over to something new that doesn't work as well. But they won't do that, and they refuse to do that. And it's so frustrating because I've talked to them.
Right.
I've talked to them personally, and they want to sponsor the show. And I won't accept it.
Yeah, we could.
I couldn't in good conscience.
Well, because like I still was using it. I have no problem with the reader because like it was on my phone, and it's not a problem.
Right.
And yes, now I had to go through a different means to get the comics and then go back.
Right. So it's like, okay, I'm reading them on my phone. Oh, wait. I put my phone down. Get on my computer. Okay.
I use my phone to do it as well. I do both.
Right. But you're not sure because of like, the mobile version of browsers, like whether options are available to you or not, unless you go on desktop to see if it's a thing. You need to cross every dot.
No, I don't. I don't.
Every eye.
No. That's how you purchase them. But honestly, if I'm being 100% transparent here, I 100%
use your phone.
Use my phone. I can use my phone entirely to make this transaction happen. But now I'm just annoyed about the whole gift card thing. So like, it's something stupid, and it's just so fixable.
I know the whole thing is so fixable, and it's so weird. It's like they hate comic books. Like it's genuinely, you had a system that you had established as like the #1 comic book digital space. And look, we've shilled for them in the past. We use them primarily, and I have defended them in the past. I vehemently.
No, and that's the thing, because like I liked their service, and
it was a good service.
There really is no other service out there. Although I did discover today there's a couple of services that you can get that have nothing to do necessarily with floppies, but it's something worthwhile to check out. It's something called Hoopla.
Yes, Hoopla.
I think, which is like if you have a library card. Now this, of course, is within the continental United States, or within the US, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's continental. I just say that because I've heard that so many times.
That's right. No, we use it usually in our promotions, but yes.
If you have a library card, you can use this and like digitally just take out comics.
That's right. This is a brilliant service that is like 100% set up through the National Library Foundation. Like, it is a straight up system. It's a service that is that you can take advantage of, that is straight up an option in lieu of piracy. And we 100% support options that do not include theft of comics. And the problem is, when the comic book industry fosters this kind of opportunity for piracy versus legitimate purchases, that we have a problem. And this is the other thing. I'm calling upon the big two in particular, but the comic book industry, to put pressure on Comixology to make the change. Because at this point, no, they're not going to make the change. I am convinced they're not going to make any changes unless they're worse. Unless Marvel and or DC just pull it entirely.
Sure. Yeah. So it was just something that's just an update.
It's an ever expanding problem.
It is an ever expanding problem, especially for me, because like Comixology is the best way for me to be able to fit comics into my day.
Yeah.
And like that digital availability. Now, of course, you can
storage and all that. Yeah.
Now you can go through Marvel and DC, but Marvel, I think it's like 3 months.
It's 3 months for DC and Marvel, I believe. Marvel Limited and DC Universe Infinite.
Yeah, to get the new issues on there, which just doesn't fit for the schedule of this show. So I just have to figure out the payment issue with Comixology, which I really don't want to do. But no. I mean, it may just come down to me making a different account just for that.
I think that's what it is.
And like,
stupid. Which sucks and is not viable for the average comic book reader. It may be good for us because we can do it ourselves because it's for our job. But as far as like everybody else is concerned, I don't I don't care for it.
Yeah. So, just as a heads up, if you're using Comixology, it's something stupid. It probably that factor, the specific factor I'm talking about with like the gift card thing, probably doesn't apply to you. But if you ever notice that your gift card or something like that, or
It's suddenly lower than it usually is,
check it out. You can actually see the purchases. That's how we figured it out. So I started piecing it together. I'm like, wait a minute, something's up here.
But once you discover it, you can't change anything about it.
You can't fix it at all.
You can't be like, oh, I only want to buy my comics through my credit card or my debit card. Or nope, just through it automatically defaults to your gift card balance. Just another weird why they do that decision.
It's weird, and it's weird too because that's not necessarily a Comixology thing. That is 100%.
That's an Amazon thing
because it's the same thing if you buy books.
But at this point, Amazon and Comixology are this.
Oh no, they are. But you can't blame Comixology for that when it was already set up in the Amazon Kindle store.
Right. That's Kindle's broken system.
Yeah, that's just Comixology was better off before Amazon.
100%. What a shame. But hey, listen, the founders did get rich and jobs at Amazon. So good for them. Cat Lawyer will defend for treats. I love the quality of life episode. This is the Spider-Man CGI comic book from Sava and Greg Rucka. Watched it multiple times and die laughing every time. Reminds me of that one Batman issue. That's Digital Justice for those who are paying attention. I love hearing context. Thanks a lot, man. That means a lot. Listen, I will say Scott Christian Salva did watch the episode of Spider-Man Quality of Life.
Yeah.
It appears that he has a sense of humor about it. And in particular, he's just happy to hear that we were honest and that we were trying to portray at least like some background about what the book was and what he wanted it to be in the first place.
Yeah.
And, I'm saying, listen, I'd love to see Scott Christian Salva do it again. I'll put it out there on Front Street. I'd like to see him give it one more try. Maybe with a better script.
Maybe.
Because that ain't his fault.
There you go. I want to also just, there's a question like, can you read comics through the Kindle app? Yeah, no, you can.
Yeah.
The problem isn't the reading through the Kindle app. I actually,
you have not had a problem with like the reading of the books.
I have not had an issue with the reader. I know other people have had some quirks with it.
Yeah.
And I hope that those issues were dealt with on their end, but I've not had an issue with the reading of it. It's the actual acquisition.
Yes.
That's the problem now.
That's right.
Anyway.
So let's jump into some books. Let's talk about some comic books that came out this week or this past week that we think are worthy of review. For example, I read Nightwing number 93 from Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo. Redondo Returndo. And so here it is. I don't, because it came to me. Show's live. What do you want? But Nightwing. This is interesting because one of the things about this series that I didn't even really consider until I think Benny the Comic Story mentioned it to me, which is there's no arcs on this series. It's just been one story the whole time, which like I didn't realize until recently like is a rarity, and I find that kind of endearing and charming and interesting. But when I became aware of it, I was like, well, that's true. Like, day to day, month to month, week to week, when this book comes out, it's like it's just another chapter in like what could be 100-issue chapter series. Like we have no idea how long this is. So we don't really know how to feel month to month when this book comes out because there's no indication of it like coming to a conclusion or even just a mini conclusion. So that might be a reason why you might feel off about this series if you're reading it, ladies and gentlemen.
It's also interesting because it makes it a little more difficult for someone to jump on.
It straight up must be frustrating if you're a brand new reader.
You have to go back.
You got to go back, especially because they kept the legacy numbering. So it's not like you could just start with issue 1. You got to start with like, I don't remember what issue it is, but it's been a while. And I love they're calling them mini chapters. Like, this is the Battle for Bloodhaven's Heart, part 2. I'm like, no, it isn't. It's just the next one.
Right.
That said, in this story, the cops are making things difficult for Dick Grayson in his pilgrimage to make Bloodhaven a better place. So he and Oracle concoct a scheme in which they like discredit and humiliate the police captain and his department in public. And it's a really like, it was very cathartic. I felt good reading it. Also, there's like an indication that maybe Dick and Barbara are in love with each other. He says, I love you. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, that would really hit home harder if they didn't literally get married at the end of Death Metal. Right before the end of the universe. Right. So it's like, I mean, I know they love each other. I don't need to be surprised by that. I mean, like people thought it was cute and I agree, but I was just kind of like, let's just pretend like we didn't all know that they've been together for so long and that this is great for them. Like we're whatever. We also see Blockbuster fight the Heartbreaker or whatever the hell his name is. And it's fun. For a new character who has like a very specific gimmick,
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. You know, and it indicates there might be like a reveal, like that
Okay.
maybe he is someone, he or she. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Beyond just a failed video store.
yes.
Okay.
No. Blockbuster's the long-standing bad guy. We know who
sorry,
Blockbuster is.
sorry.
No, Heartbreaker
Okay.
or whatever the hell they called. But yeah, it's good stuff. I'm also getting this feeling, and I don't know if it's true, but like that because they introduced like, Dick Grayson's sister is now a character, and that
Yes.
like the man who murdered the Graysons is also, or the woman who the wife of the man who murdered the Graysons is his half mother, whatever. They're related, and he's now and now his sister's related to the person who killed the Graysons in the first place. It's like, oh, look at the drama, but they'd never really delved into the drama, and like the longer this series goes on, the less important Melinda Zuko is, and I wonder if this is Taylor just quietly phasing her out, or if he's deliberately not using her so that when like she is really important later, people go like, what?
Oh yeah, remember that?
Yeah,
I don't forget threads.
right.
I intentionally bury them until I need them.
That is Tom Taylor. Tom Taylor's good at that though. So like I trust him. It's just like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Okay.
I don't care. And I was very critical of the idea of introducing like a secret sister, because like that trope sucks,
I know
and it's like
you were not a
new,
fan.
and I don't care for it. But yeah. But otherwise, the book is good. The art's pretty good. Bruno Redondo's art is usually spectacular, and there are a couple of sweeping, beautiful images in this issue in particular. But I feel like maybe it's the coloring. Maybe it just, there was something off about it. It felt a little bit weaker than the previous issues. He's not going for it. You know, there's no spectacular sequences, and that could just be the failing of the script. Could just be he wasn't given an opportunity to really do anything. Like there's a scene where Nightwing drives a motorcycle and it like flies across like this like overpass, and Redondo's it. You know, like, but not in a like, here's 16 different ways to look at it, or here's like all these different panels, just one big page.
Right.
And it's very simple, and you could trick your brain into just being like, cool, and then just turn the page. But if you take it in, it's like, oh, you really did something nice with this. It's just a very good looking page. I think the cover is the best part about it, unfortunately, but like otherwise, it's just kind of like, it's not the top of his game. It's not what I've come to expect, and certainly not what you got from the first volume of this series. Otherwise, it is still a good book, and it's still a good team. So, you know, huzzah for Nightwing 93. Dominic Bell says, Batcat 12 is out. I think it comes out tomorrow. I think I've been enjoying it, but it's been so long I can't remember. What runs are worth it that had long breaks between issues? Honestly, I think because there's going to be a huge break. There is a huge break between the first 6 issues and the last 6 issues of Human Target.
Right.
Which is
now
a spectacular series.
I would say, though, because I thought about that, too, because I was like, Saga. But I think they're talking more between like issues themselves,
right?
Like, as opposed to like, here's like a chapter, you know what I mean? Like between like issue 2 and 3,
right?
Like
because there have been like some big breaks.
That's what I
think Paper Girls had a big break like that.
Yeah. I was thinking any of the Black Label books that are currently out.
Oh yeah, where the hell is Lonely City? Where the hell's One Lonely Night, or where the hell it's called?
Blaze, Lonely City, the Jeff Lemire Swamp Thing book.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm like,
Green Hell?
Was it canceled?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, where's Blaze?
The Dark One Dark Night.
Yeah, One Dark Night. I saw
honestly,
Jock
could
posted.
Be coming out. I didn't look any into what's.
I'm sure. Yeah, me either.
But
Jock did post pages for One Dark Night, so at least we know he's drawing the damn.
Well,
thing.
I should hope so.
Kyle Carter. You can use the Marvel app and buy digital books, and it runs on the old Comixology reader.
Well, hang on. Wait. Was it that one? No, never mind. There's another comment about that later on, but there's additional information to it. Never mind.
Okay.
I mean, again, for me, it's not the reader that's the problem.
No, but it is the problem for me. But
yeah.
And I hope that maybe the old Comixology reader isn't proprietary, so maybe they could just buy the damn thing.
Right.
Because I remember Guided View was. Guided View was like TM and copy. It was weird. But yeah. Anything else you want to talk about in particular before we jump into it? What's your next book?
Oh, I was like, what? Let's talk about New Mutants really briefly.
Yeah.
Number 26.
Sure.
Written by Vita Ayala with art by Rod Rice.
Oh, good.
For the main story, any flashbacks by Jan Duursema.
Okay.
Listen, last time we jumped into this book, it was like a little tiny story with a smaller cast of characters. It was Magic, Madeline Pryor, Danny Moonstar, Wolfsbane, right?
Yeah.
And the idea here was that Magic was like, I've got too many things going on with my life. I'm the leader of the New Mutants, I'm a war captain, and I'm the queen of Limbo.
Yes.
And I don't want one of them.
Right. And that's Queen of Limbo.
So she decides she's going to hand it back over to Madeline Pryor, which, like, you know, Danny and Wolfsbane are like, or Rain, I should say. Danny and Rain are like, that's a bad idea.
Right.
That's a bad idea, right? So when they went there to sign the contract, it's a magical contract, magically binding, the shit hits the fan, and Magic's sword is shattered.
No!
So she can't summon the soul sword anymore, right?
Oh no.
They try to escape by using her gates, but like it sends them someplace else.
Okay.
And they're like, we're trapped in limbo.
Okay.
Basically. Like, we're trapped here. Something's wrong. Like, I can't get out of here. And so that's where we kind of jump in, where they're just like, cool. Madeline Pryor's like, awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So they're trying to figure, like, Magic just keeps trying to summon the sword. It's not working, right? And they're like, maybe you just need to rest. Like, you didn't really sustain any physical damage in the battle, but this was devastating. Let's just take a break. They hear a battle off in the distance. Danny and Rain want to go and see what's happening. So off they go, and they see this like fortress looking thing and like demons attacking, right? And there's like someone kind of holding out up on top of the wall there. Whatever you want to call that. And they notice there's like something weird about these demons, like something's off or something's a little different about them. And Magic and Madeline are like, let's not jump in there. First of all, we just had a big battle. Second of all, let's just not.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's not. And the other two are like, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, that's very sensitive. Thank you, guys.
So what we find out, though, is that, first of all, these demons have the technovirus.
Oh, no.
So they're all like...
Yeah, they're all cabled out.
Warlocked out. That's what they look like.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Right? That's what they call it, a technovirus, even though
Well,
so anyway,
cable's the techno-organic virus.
Yeah. So anyway, and atop the wall is this woman. It's Magic. Yeah. But it's like old lady Magic, basically, and she's all cabled out.
Cool.
Right?
That's fun.
Like, she lost her arm. She's got a big gun.
Nice.
Kind of neat, right?
That is dope. Yeah.
Is
that indicative of some things that are being
Magic
teased?
From the future, basically. It's like an alternate like version of her, where like everything that happened to them happened here. She's like, you know, Danny and Rain died in the first year, Madeline a few like years later in an arcane accident, and it's just been me. And like my hope is that like if at some point the demons were infected, because like Krakoa is gone, by the way.
Oh, in her future.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that it's something to do with the Phalanx.
Fair.
Right. So basically her plan is like Sim, who's the demon who shattered her sword in the first place.
Oh yeah.
Like, if I can kill him, even though he's all like tricked out, you know, with virus, then like this will fix everything. Somehow, right. Her sword is Warlock. Warlock showed up here. Like,
cool.
Just like, hey, he was like damaged and hurt. Eventually, when she lost her arm, he became her arm, much like Doug.
Yeah.
And the two of them like have a spell they use occasionally to like wipe out the demons, and when they show up, but they always come back. It's not the same ones, but there's always more of them, right? And it's like, it's basically hurting them both, and she can't do it forever.
Yeah.
They end up taking care of it, obviously.
Sure.
And Madeline, and we see like one of those info dump pages where Madeline and Magic have a conversation about why Magic was giving it to her. She's like, because you can't give like limbo / hell, whatever, like a sane person, because they couldn't do it. They can't handle it. You need to be
like messed up.
Yeah. To handle this place.
Sure.
So it's a nice conversation, but it solidifies that like Madeline is definitely going to get this back.
Right.
Right. Once they figure it all out. Because by the end of this, they haven't fixed any of that, but they do take care of this version of Sim.
Okay.
Right. And from that, Magic's able to like grab something and use it to create like a temporary sword so that they can teleport out of there. Old Magic doesn't go with them.
Okay.
She's like, you know what? That's not what I'm here to do. And I don't know if that would work out for me, so I'm just not gonna go.
Okay.
So that's it. Like, you know, it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Looking,
and I wanted to mention it because there's something else we're gonna talk about later.
Yes.
That involves Magic. So just FYI. That happened. It was a fun issue. If you're enjoying New Mutants, or you missed New Mutants when it wasn't about all like a lot of new characters. Not
Yeah.
all of them were new, but there were many new characters. This is kind of a return to form for New Mutants, in a sense.
Yeah.
So if you were missing some of these characters and like crazy adventures they might go on, at least you got a few of them. You got a handful of them. So there you go.
Cool.
And it looks great because it's Rod Rice.
Oh, of course,
you know,
yeah.
it's got like a great looseness to it. You know what I mean? Like there's something there. It's just, you know, Rod does what Rod does and it looks great.
Great. Young Goku over 9000 says, "Gotta hit the gym." Great, good for you.
Well, no, that's the, you know,
that's the running gag. I know you hated that Mariah move, but dang, it feels like every book is finally hitting Fuego status. Mortal X-Men, X-Men, Knights of X, New Mutants, and Otherworld Death.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, it certainly feels like, you know what this feels like, honestly? Like, it feels like the current crop of X-Men writers, the stable of X-Men creators, the Marvel people, because Hickman was brought in separately. Like, Hickman is not a Marvel, like he's an employee. We won't get into the specifics of Hickman and who he worked for and what his status was at Marvel Comics, but we'll instead say that, like, let's just say he wasn't in the bullpen. You know what I mean? It feels like they're like, now that Hickman's gone, we're gonna Marvel this up. Like, this feels like Marvel's X-Men, and this is not a compliment.
No, okay, that's what you say, but you're not reading all of them.
I'm not reading all of them.
What it feels like to me is like this is the okay, so it's like Hickman's out.
Yeah, and it feels like they're like, okay, now that Dad's gone, let's throw a rager.
Kind of, but like, and like now they're getting their footing for good or for bad. Like,
yeah, like this is the new status quo, and this is the new direction.
Hard to tell
like they have a plan,
right? Like it's kind of hard to tell for me right now how Fuego this is going to be.
But Inferno's over, so there's not much Fuego going on.
But
anymore.
For right now, at least, it's like I feel like they found their footing.
Yes.
And some of
it's
the
for
books,
good or ill.
And I think what a lot of people are experiencing right now is that some of the books, regardless of like timelines being shifted on release dates, are feeling like they're starting to line up, and that for a lot of people like
is important,
but also I think it is important for dealing with like a suite of books like this.
Of course.
Not Wolverine.
No.
But for them to feel like that, but like if you're not paying attention to that feeling or the fact that it's like we're coming up to another gala, and so a lot of the books do have to start aligning, it can mask a lot of things and make it feel like okay, cool, the next big epic thing. And it might be, I'm not saying it's not, but I think what you're sensing right now for sure is the fact that things are starting to fall into line for like each of the books so that they can tie together into the next thing and then branch back out.
Gotcha. Well, Tiffany preps the next X-Men book. Living Freak says, in the wake of Neil Adams and George Perez's passing, do you think several of DC characters should go back to their Bronze Age costumes as a way of honoring these two titans in memoriam? I don't care about that necessarily. Like, I wouldn't be excited about it. I understand it might be like a nice gesture, but it's a lot of coordination and time, so it might not be for a few more months before they did it, so it'd feel kind of weird. What I'd rather see is just what they're doing. I've seen a few of those George Perez splashes that they did that were in memoriam to him. Of course, also the tragic passing of Tim Sale, which we didn't get a chance to talk about, but we're sad to hear about Tim Sale's passing, and we wish nothing but the best and of peace and comfort for his family and friends who are experiencing a tragic and way too untimely loss. Yes. But with Adams and Perez and Sale for that matter, I think that like something is in order. I mean, I like the Ween, black and white kind of like memoriams that they put into the books for like a good half year or something like that. That was a nice touch and something I would rather see versus like some kind of in canon like subtle and like metatextual reasoning.
What they have for the Perez, there's like a splash.
There's that big splash image, but they can't do that for everybody, or they could, but it would take a lot of coordination, and they didn't plan on like losing more Titans. Dr. Bright says, "Hey, Sounds, have any thoughts on JLA Last Ride?" I think that it felt like a friggin' rejected in continuity story that was slightly tweaked to be out of continuity. Not a huge fan of the art. I also have it in trade. You'll see it on Backage at some point.
Absolutely true.
So yeah, what do you got?
Let's talk about Knights of X number 3. This is like very much the continuation of Excalibur.
Yes.
Different title, but very much a lot of the same crew. Not all of the same crew, but a lot of the same crew.
Yeah, Teenie Howard's on there.
Teenie Howard writing it, Bob Quinn doing art. The book looks great.
Yeah.
Really do like the art quite a bit in this book. this is the one for a lot of people where it's like, I like this book quite a bit, but I get it. I get why people may not be on
maybe
this one.
maybe sleeping on it.
Yeah, and like only because it's like it is a genre book.
Right.
Like, it is definitely an X-Men book, but it is a genre book. It's fantasy.
Yeah.
You're dealing with knights, you're dealing with magic. So that's not everyone's cup of tea. So I totally get it.
Yeah.
And again, without like leading into like Ten of Swords, like I don't know. I will say we like saw for like a brief moment a flashback where Apocalypse got to be in it for a second.
Oh.
And we've made mention to him yet again.
Good. Okay.
So
I hope they don't take it away. I feel like Hickman was building towards Apocalypse's return.
Oh, sure.
And I really hope that like the bullpen doesn't take it away from him, because I know he's going to come back and do it.
I'd like to have him have that right to open that door to Amenth.
Yeah.
Because that's mentioned today that Richter isn't going to open the door.
Okay.
Like he's like, don't worry, I'm not going to open that doorway because like that's not what he wanted. And I'm like, don't even talk about that.
Yeah.
Just let.
Yeah. Don't remind everybody of that.
Well, dude, like let him be away for a bit.
Don't let Duggan know about that. Not that I don't like what he's doing, but I don't want him to open all those doors.
Right. So I'm not gonna really get into too much about this. Whoa, sorry everybody, I just totally punched my mic. Except for the fact that the X-Men, this team is on a quest. They split the party.
Oh no, you never split the party.
If you're playing D&D, you do not split the party. I mean, unless you have to split the party, but usually it does not go well.
No,
you don't want to split that party, which they have, but they needed to.
Yeah,
because part of them is going to find the Siege Perilous.
Okay,
so it's Betsy and Shatterstar and Richter and Mordred, recent mutant.
Yes.
And the other team is trying to get I think it's Jim Jasper's back. I think that's what they're going to get. Because he's been arrested.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, isn't he in like a thing? Oh no, Jim Jaspers did that to somebody else.
Yeah, no, he's been that's Redroot.
Yes.
From Amenth. No, he's been depowered by Merlin.
Oh no.
He's got like some it's like a collar thing, but
okay.
It's like a yield version of it.
Yes,
a yield magical version of that.
Cool.
Go on down to the old apothecary. Fix that. But so they're it's Gambit and Bay and I can't remember who else is on. Megan and Rachel are on that team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've got like different storylines going. It all like converges in the market where Jaspers is going to be executed. And it's all right, we got to do this. And like, okay, we figured out where we think the Siege Perilous is because Richter's got the grimoire of Apocalypse. And so he gives it to his son, Death, who is still like
kicking around,
stuck in Sevalith with the vampires, but like he's not willing to leave.
Okay.
But like he's not like living it up over there. They have him like chained up someplace. But he's like, no, it's fine. I'm gonna stay around here.
Okay.
So he's able to like read through his father's works and like kind of pieces it together, right? Absalom Mercator makes a like appearance in a flashback. Mr. M, who rules over Mercator, as given to him by Apocalypse. Apocalypse is like, you do this. Trust me, this is all coming around. Is basically what he indicates.
Right.
That like the Siege Perilous, he gives it to him for him to hide it. So theoretically he has it.
Okay.
So they have to be able to get in there, but you can't get in there without a sacrifice. Now the word sacrifice is said in the story so much that the end, or not the end, but like the what happens was literally a zero shock value for me.
Right, because we knew there was going to be a freaking sacrifice coming.
Like, I knew who it was too.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Like it wasn't even like
it was really telegraphed
from the credits page. I knew who it was.
Okay,
and I'll explain why.
How? Yeah.
But anyway, I will get to that. But essentially, during a fight, like Gambit and Megan and someone else is to go up and get Jaspers. They're trying to hold off Furies and all this stuff is going on. And Merlin shows up. And Gambit's like, I'm going to take him on.
Okay.
And so like he stole a tarot deck from Saturnine and he throws one. And he's like, I got the death card for you. And he throws it.
Awesome.
And it doesn't matter. Merlin catches it and tosses it back at him and Gambit dies.
Oh.
In Otherworld. Which means he won't come back right.
Great.
Now, two things. One, we're dealing with the Siege Perilous, which I believe can change or alter souls in a way. So I'm thinking that's going to be our way around this one. Two, please, in your credits page, don't use your X logo to put the character you're going to kill and then put part 3, kill your darlings right above it. I know that was technically what the cover
Maybe
was.
They want you to think that.
Well, that's why I was like, maybe this is not so obvious.
Yeah. Oh, no, I think it's like, no, the issue is you're supposed to be like, oh, no, they're going to kill Gambit. They killed Gambit. But no, like there's a switcheroo.
Dead.
Okay.
No, he's dead.
All right.
Well, as far as we know, he is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Shogo needed to see that. It's all stories too, like in this, but like for some reason, having the cover be Gambit, having that image in there and put "Kill Your Darlings" over,
it feels like they're really killing.
So Gambit's gonna die.
Right.
Got it.
Okay.
Now the issue really just is that he would come back differently. But like I said, I think the Siege Perilous is going to factor into how they might be able to fix that.
Yeah.
Either that, or they're just like enough of Gambit and Rogue being together.
Right. Yeah. It really ages them. Well, couldn't they just go into heaven and get him?
What do you mean?
Don't they have the Wanda protocols now?
I see. I think I'm not sure how that works with Amenth or with
Otherworld,
because Otherworld's its own thing.
Right.
It's not that the heaven that she created is really to fix those who they didn't have.
Like memories for. Yeah,
have like copies of them or people who died before their X gene came to be.
Right.
So it's like a little different. I don't know if that's going to factor in or not.
Okay.
So that was the big spoiler there, everybody. Gambit's dead. Everyone's pretty upset, and Shogo had to watch it.
Okay.
Basically, that was important that Roma, Regina, and Saturnine were like, you have to watch this because sacrifice isn't like a sacrifice unless it's like truly like felt or something.
Right.
Right.
So yeah. Somebody asked if death doesn't even matter in the X-Men anymore. And it's like you're going to have to remind them about how the Otherworld thing works.
So yes, so death in Otherworld does matter, just because if you die in Otherworld, you come back differently. Essentially, the shifting or because Otherworld is really the nexus of all like different universes, and like Saturnine used to be in charge of all those. It's how you had the like the Captain Britain Corps and all that stuff just from everywhere, like we have it now. When you come back from that, something changes in your coming back, and you're not the same. You're not the one that left. You're a different one.
Yeah.
So it is a risk because you don't know what's coming back. Exactly. We've seen this happen before. It also happened with what's his name? Gorgon.
Yeah, well, the rock guy.
Well, yeah, but it also happened with Gorgon.
Oh, that's right.
Like, fixed himself somehow.
He fixed himself.
And I don't know how, but they couldn't fix. I want to call him Rockslide, but I don't think that's what his name is.
Yeah, but I want to say that too.
His name even remotely. It's just his name. He is a rock man.
He's a rock man.
Therefore, his name should be that, and it's not that. But like I said, we have the Siege Perilous. I think that's maybe going to factor in it, or they'll just let it go for now, and he'll be a different Gambit who doesn't look rogue. Right.
Which is like what everybody's looking for.
Why?
Because they're always doing that. Marvel's always like, how can we undo this? How can we undo this relationship? That would really
they had some time together at the very least. So even if they do it, it's like, all right, yay, at least you let them be married for a while.
Exactly.
Who's taking care of the cats? That's really
right. That's a really good question. Tyler Eldon, is anyone reading the new Carnage series? Thoughts? No. Sol Moretti, hope you're doing well. Lately, I've been feeling like there are very few concepts or ideas from Marvel lately, at least outside the X books. Miles Morales is still messing with his clones somehow. Yeah, I picked up and I looked through. I can't really review it. Miles Morales, Spider-Man number 39. All I can say is I looked through it and it didn't appeal to me in any way at all. There was so many Spider people and they were in an alternate future, and I was just like, regardless of the Peter Parker stuff, which was like, he's an old man, he was kept in a box, doesn't matter. It was just like, I was like, I don't fucking want to read it.
Maybe they're spinning their wheels because it's like, it's summer, we're just going to do an event. You know what I mean? Like, wait.
Yeah. I don't know. Apparently you were right. It was Rock.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. But I did read Batman Superman World's Finest number 4 from Mark Waid and Dan Mora. This continues the like flashback story in which they're dealing with like an evil Asian-born demon named Nazar from the past.
I really kind of like this logo. I'm noticing. I had noticed the bat in the W, but I hadn't noticed the diamond or like
the Superman crest
Superman
in the E.
In the E,
yeah. No, I thought that was kind of cute. I asked you about this early when we first saw it. I was like, "What do you think of this?" Because I'm like,
maybe you did, and maybe I had.
You didn't. We didn't talk about the E though, but yeah, it's yeah. So this book is fine. It'll read better in trade. This is very much like if you didn't read the last 3 issues, you're not going to know what the hell's happening in issue 4. So like, I do not recommend you read this first. That being said, no one's buying this book, so you can probably pick up issues 1 through 3 for like super cheap now. So go do that because this is one of the best looking DC books on the shelves right now. You also get to see Batman, Superman at their peak, at their like prime, in their like most idealized versions of themselves. When you're looking at them, thanks to Dan Mora, fighting Hal Jordan Green Lantern. It's a fun looking fight. Of course, Green Lantern has been possessed by the devil Neza, and he's like controlling Hal, and he's trying to take all the superheroes off the board before he comes back, or comes back in full form, because he's going to take over the wills of men, or whatever the hell. Yeah, it's very like, what? Like, the whole book is just an excuse for Wade to play with characters like Supergirl and Dick Grayson Robin and Doom Patrol and Green Lantern and Superman and Batman. Like, it's just he's playing in the DC universe for the first time in years. And so it's like he's clearly just grabbing every action figure he can and playing with them. On that level, it is a fun ride, especially because Dan Mora makes it so much more beautiful. The thing to remark about this is the fact that in order to defeat Green Lantern, because Green Lantern's been infused with magic, which makes him formidable against Superman, Batman and Superman combine their wills together to will the ring off of Hal Jordan's hand. And when it comes to them, it merges all of them into a Superman-Batman composite character who wields the Green Lantern ring. And unfortunately, doing all that like depleted the Lantern battery, so you don't get that character for more than the first issue here. That being said, it's fun design. It's very much like a McFarlane figure I'm sure you'll see in literally 2 months. But yeah, it's a fun book. It's very much like a balls to the wall action series. It is meant to be like joyous and fun and celebrate everything that you like about DC, especially the past. I can imagine that's why people aren't reading it, because it's set in the past, so they're like, it doesn't matter. But every story does matter thanks to Death Metal. So you should just buy it and read it and enjoy it. And Superman and Batman versus Green Lantern, it's fun. So check that out. It's fun. That's all I can say about it. It's fun. It's fun.
Please write more.
Is it great? No. Is it good though? Sure. It's just fine. But it is fun, and it's doing its thing,
Cool.
But it is this feels like the lull in the chapter, like I think there's 2 more issues of this story arc, probably, because they're all 6 issues. But I'm sure it'll crescendo into something fun. Plus, it's cool to see Dick and Kara hang out. So yeah, check that out if you are of a mind. Ray Farr in our super chats also mentions Spiderverse, and the game made me a Miles fan. I thought OG Comic Miles wasn't interesting to me and felt repetitive. How did you initially feel? I liked him in Ultimate Spider-Man because like he was basically like he was Ultimate Peter with a very different past, and that was kind of fun. And Bendis was very good at like establishing his supporting cast in the world that he lived in, and it was really fun to read. I really like that Miles. 616 Miles was never interesting to me, and there was never anything really that passionate or good done with him, in my opinion, for a long time. Saladin Men is doing something very different that makes him feel very unique, that gives the audience that has been looking for Miles a book to identify with. My Miles is the movie Miles at this point. Like, is Spider-Verse the movie? Like, he is that one is a fully developed character with like understandable motivations and all this stuff. I'm very much on board for that, and it's joyful and fun, and I want to read that. This like clone shit is for the birds, so pass. But yeah, no, I don't. I liked him. I didn't, but I like the movie version, and the game is just the movie version. Tiffany, what else have we got?
I'm not gonna really get into this because I am in no way, shape, or form a like expert at all.
Yeah.
But I saw it and I was like, you know what? We talked about it last week a little bit.
Yeah.
But I read Black Adam #1.
Oh, hey, I forgot that came out.
Because I know almost nothing about Black Adam. But it does, for those who want to know, it does take place before everything that's going on.
Okay. Oh, before the death of Justice League.
Yeah, it takes place before
that.
Yeah.
They
put an editor's note at the beginning. They're like, hey, just so you know.
That's good.
I'm like, oh, thank you.
That's smart.
This is written by Christopher Priest or Priest.
Yeah, it's... Oh, does he go by Priest now?
I see that they have it there, and on the credits page, it's like that, but DC has him listed as Christopher Priest.
Okay. Maybe it'll change over time.
I don't know, right?
Yeah.
With art by Rafa Sandoval.
Oh, okay.
I really dig the art in this book.
Yeah.
It looks great. Really does. I really, really liked the styling. It like was Dan Mora-esque to me, but not like completely not that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
but it's very distinctively its own thing.
Very, very distinctively its own thing. But it was like I don't know enough about this.
Right.
Because
the first issue should be able to introduce you to the character and give you
it does not.
a footing.
It has something to say, and I'm not sure what it is because a lot of it has to do with financial stuff. Like we deal with a lot of like there's a court hearing and like a Senate style hearing, right? And like there's like slinging terms, and I'm like, this is right over my head, right over my head of what is happening in this book.
Okay.
Essentially, like spoilers here, guys. We are introduced to the concept that like was it Teth
Adam
or Teth Adam is dying. And
so they're Mr. Miracling Black Adam.
There's a new one coming in.
Okay.
Right? There's a new Black Adam coming in.
Okay.
Now, if this is all happening before Death of Justice League,
what the hell does that mean? Or maybe it's outside of continuity, or maybe whatever they want.
Right. I'm not really sure. I really can't judge this other than like, there were parts of it that I found pretty engaging, but other parts that like I said, I just went over my head.
Yeah.
You've got the like, we're having a Senate hearing. Then we've got we're dealing with Darkseid. Like he fights Darkseid. But then like, oh wait, it's actually not Darkseid. And just he wants to decide still where he is. He's got like this creepy hand thing going on, right?
Okay.
It's just getting worse and worse. So gotta
yeah, so it's not prepping you for the movie.
I don't feel like it's really prepping you for the movie. They are putting a book out there on the shelves, but like I mean, like I think we're all simultaneously tired of like the age old like there's a new movie coming out, so like we better put a book out and like it better be like here's this character, and it's like I totally get that, right? But
this is also a new trend too, where it's like let's put it out. And they're dying.
And well, I was gonna say, or it has because they did that with Strange.
Yeah,
like, Strange has a
they did it with Spider-Man too,
and it has nothing to do with who Doctor Strange is or what you're gonna see in
that
a
movie.
Film, right?
Yeah,
I think they just used it as an excuse to put out a new series. It is a limited series. It's only going to be 12 issues, and I noticed a lot of people saying because I don't really know a whole lot again about this character or Christopher Priest. I know we've talked about that writer a couple of times. It's been brought up, but like people are saying it's kind of like a return of Priest back to DC.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's kind of cool. Like that's cool all on its own. I can't tell you if this is a good Black Adam book.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I can't tell you if this is a good Black Adam book at all.
Right. But is it a good book?
It was okay. There were like I said, some of the there was some engaging dialogue, but we jumped a lot. We jumped a lot.
Okay.
And I know they're like it's punctuated by like the little title cards here, but sometimes the jumps I was like, wait, what's happening?
Right.
Wait, hang on. Now that could be a me thing. That could be a story problem. I'm not 100%, but like it was fine. It was fine.
Right.
Especially with the fact that like I'm not aware who this character is all that well. Like I have a
passing familiarity with this character.
Very cursory knowledge of this. And this book felt like I needed maybe a little bit more.
Right. Yeah. And well, this book maybe was hoping to be a little bit more.
Yeah. Like I don't know how like new reader friendly it was because sometimes I just turn my brain off in a way like where I'm just like not like let's pretend like I'm a new reader, but like I just accept things and I kind of read it as though like at some point I will understand this.
Sure.
So, like, if I were to keep going with this, or if I had
you've been rewarded with that before.
I have been rewarded with that, where it's like you get like a first volume of something and you're like reading that first issue in it, and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna let it go, and hopefully at some point this will all make sense.
Yes.
If you are a new reader who's not like that, who doesn't have that, like either that patience or that reading style, I don't know if this is going to work out because again, it's the first issue. I don't know how much more is going to be, expanded. Presumably the next issue, they're going to have to, because they're going to have to explain to this new character more about things. Right. So it's almost like, we'll see if I remember to pick it up. The second issue might be a better, like, hey, get to know what's going on.
Okay.
I don't know. So that's what I got.
Cool. All right. Well, let's talk about X-Men 12. Because it's X-Men 12. It's from Jerry Duggan and Pepe Larraz. Best looking X-Men book on the shelves, of course, as usual. Pepe Larraz knocking it out of the park. Just great looking stuff.
I hate to say it.
I know. Well, I don't, because it's good. I like seeing
I think
they're all
so
good.
And
they're so strong.
Working out there right now.
But
like, this is they're like their dream team, honestly.
Seriously.
This book was bittersweet for me.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
On a few levels, the fact that like they're refreshing is 12 issues. This is like a year. So we're refreshing the team at the end of it.
Yeah, which I don't know if I remembered that being a thing or if I just blocked that out of my brain or if that was not a thing.
But it makes it great. The idea is, the first
an
issue.
election.
Well, yeah, but
Which I kind of dig. It makes sense for like this new island nation
Mm-hmm.
to, if you're gonna have the XMen, the like thing that Professor X was like, we can't use that word. Okay, we have to use that word. That it should be based on election and not just like you're on the XMen until you
Die.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true.
Until you come back or until you decide you don't want to be on it any longer.
Right. But I like it because from the first issue, Game World has been the antagonist. So this whole 12 issue run wraps it all up. They take the fight to Game World. We saw in the last issue. It was like really tense. What's the name of the bad guy that Cyclops was chasing?
Dr. Stasis.
Dr. Stasis. Cyclops fights Dr. Stasis and corners him and reveals that it's Nathaniel Essex, this Mr. Sinister, but not just any Mr. Sinister.
He claims.
He claims, and I'm like, no, but also like, why would they say if he's saying it in this book? We are meant as the audience to expect it's true.
Additionally, because I believe in Immortal X-Men number 2, there's, or maybe it's 1, I can't remember. One of those 2, Destiny has a conversation back in the day with the original Nathaniel Essex.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So like it's already on the table that there is an
original, and he's still kicking.
Well, maybe he's still kicking. That was way back then.
That's true. Yeah. But yeah, Dr. Stasis is actually the real Mr. Sinister, and he's like,
supposedly.
And he's a member of Orca, so he's like, screw you, and I've been trying to kill you.
Right. And so I want to say this now before I forget, but I also don't want to derail this review. But like that in particular, the fact that he's like, mutants are a blight on this world, and we have to like burn it all down, essentially. I'm like, this just feels like you don't want to deal with Moira anymore.
That's very true. Yes.
Like you decided that Moira was going to be bad, that like she feels the same way.
Yep.
And then made her go away.
Yep.
And now it's like, we'll use this.
Yeah, anyway, we'll use Orcas. Like that's enough.
That's just how it felt. But
yeah, well, it should feel that way because it's exactly what they're doing. I mean, like if you read that 10 Lives, 10 Deaths series, it's just a big middle claw to those who were excited about the Hickman run. I guarantee there's one comment that's like, why don't they fucking shut up about the Hickman run? God, we get it. You don't like it, okay?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry I'm sorry you're not smart enough to understand this stuff. So this series in particular was a really fun book, and it culminates. You could end X-Men.
Yes.
You could end the run.
Was...
And there's rumors that LaRaz is leaving. So like,
it's like, yeah, there's the end of the run.
So then,
No, I do feel bad whoever's stepping in next.
Yeah, it's some big boots.
Because it's not even that it's big boots, because art's like, it's hard sometimes because you want to compare art to art because we're just so used to comparison just in general, and we all have our own subjective opinions on art, and so you can't help but bring that to the table. And I feel bad. I think that first issue, no matter how talented and skilled that artist is going to be rough for them.
Exactly.
Because they're going to, unless it's a very similar feel, it's going to be fighting it's not the same.
Oh, yeah. It's not the same feel. It's not the same tone. Yeah, absolutely. By the way, I'm joking about not being smart enough. I don't like to make that comparison because people assume that because you didn't understand or you didn't like a certain thing that you're not like, there's some kind of like intelligence level. I'm just, it's a joke.
Yes.
Whatever.
I assume.
But I have to cover my ass because the subtlety's dead. So, the X-Men, I remember the last issue, I was like, I think the X-Men are like, this is the first time we actually saw them like struggle.
Yeah.
And then it turns out like, we got you.
Yeah. Well, it's fine. I really loved
the tone and the feel of this, and watching the X-Men actually be capable and successfget has been like really refreshing.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like there's 12 issues. It felt like there was like 4.
It does.
Right?
It was so fast.
Yeah. But you get to see the X-Men like fire on all cylinders, do their thing, save the day. I mean, it's basically what it is, right? I mean, like, any standout moments for you that you're like, oh?
I mean, like, I really enjoy obviously the 4 ladies in the casino working together, the reveal of what's really going on,
right?
Like, the reality of it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Rogue kissing Jean Grey on the cheek.
Yeah,
that was really cute.
Yeah, that was cute. And her just like, let me borrow your powers and let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I was like, that's so fun.
Right?
Yeah,
watching them rescue like all these worlds that were being like dominated by Game World and being like, this is, you can keep this place as long as you make it like okay.
Yeah, we imprison the villain instead of killing him so he can come back at some point. Or we completely forgot.
Or not. Yeah, exactly.
But we at the end of this is really just kind of wrapping it up. The big thing, of course, wasn't that. it wasn't the Game World story at all, even though I was here for that. I
Yeah.
loved every moment of it, the action, the fact that not only did they save Earth, they saved all these planets, the fact that for Jean, like, that's really important for her because it's brought up because of the whole Phoenix thing.
Right.
The big thing is that at the end of this, Cyclops and Sync make a decision.
Yes.
And it's revealed, I mean, I don't recall if it was or wasn't, how Ben Urich
lost his mental power. I think Xavier took him out, but I don't remember that.
No, it says Sync did it.
Oh, that's right.
Sync in this says, like, I panicked and I did it.
That's right. And then they tell him and they keep him up to date and he fucking drops the bomb.
Yeah, no, we go and, like, Cyclops makes the decision that he's like, we need to be truthful with the world.
Yeah. Which I feel like is 4D chess, but I don't trust them. I think it's either like meant to appear altruistic / naive, or it's like they want Urich to think they're being altruistic, but really they're actually playing some kind of game.
Well, it could be both. It could be that Cyclops is like, we need to have done this, and, like, we didn't decide that it wouldn't happen.
Right.
Like, you decided, Sync, that it wouldn't happen.
Right.
And also the fact that, as we see at the end, Nathaniel Essex is like, I wish we could have caught them up with that lie about that, but we can't now, but we got something else.
Yes.
And she's going to the gala.
Right.
And I'm like,
oh,
Moira.
Yeah, Moira. Well, she's in the body of Mary Jane.
Yeah.
So that'll be a thing that, like, no one's gonna like.
Yeah. So, like, here's what I'm excited about is that, like, I hate Mr. Sinister and I love Mr. Sinister. Like,
yeah.
I like him as an antagonist just because of what a dick he is and like how he is, like, just, like, chaotic. He's just chaos. He's always, you can rely on him to always save his own ass.
Of course.
Right? Except for the times when he actually is, like, helpful.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't always even rely on that.
Right.
But the fact that, like, if this is the original Nathaniel, I would love to see that conversation.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah.
Like, because he seems to hate Mr. Sinister as he is now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm here for that.
Right. But otherwise, hard recommend for this series. I mean, like, you should. I don't know where the hell the trade is for this, but I'm excited for it.
But it's just a solid, like, it's fun. It is a fun series that has a little more bearing on some things in terms of, like, especially with this reveal of the like, life resurrection protocol. Like,
this is the new. Well, we're in a new era.
Yeah,
we're crossing the threshold into another status quo for the X-Men.
And for Game World, at the very least for me, it gave you the opportunity to let the X-Men be X-Men.
Right.
Like, a lot of people complained early on that it was like everything was, like, weird and, like, it was all about Krakoa and it was only this and, like, there was no X-Men. And so we brought the X-Men together. We moved them off of Krakoa. They still are in service of Krakoa, but they get to do more X-Men-y things.
Exactly.
On a larger bombastic scale. And I like the fact that, listen, there's a whole lot of things going on in space right now, but X-Men and space, they're connected.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And in fact, that's even what Nathaniel says.
Right.
Like, in this issue, he's just like, just leave Earth alone. Earth is for humanity.
Yeah.
The X-Men, like, mutants should go find what they want in space. And I'm like, that's so funny. Right?
Yeah.
Because there is that connection. And so, like, I kind of love that the antagonist comes from space.
Yeah.
And they have to go there.
Right.
I'm like, it's just very fitting to me. But it gives the X-Men, a reason to be doing things in the public eye, to be saving people, to be doing those big, like I said, bombastic things.
Right.
And then also have this, like, solid, like, these other, like, little threads going through that are maybe larger
than,
like, the action on the page.
Right.
So I think that's cool.
I agree. Dark Crisis Young Justice is a book that came out that got some press. Not a lot of press. Not as much press as that terrible What If book that caused a stir and was interesting because apparently, like, the writer doubled down on their opinions about how they did with What If Miles Morales became Thor, and then just suddenly had a completely different opinion about that and said that they apologized for being like.
I hope it was a sincere apology.
I'm sure it was. Dark Knight Norris. Hey, y'all, I can't stay for the stream, but gotta show my appreciation for all the amazing content. Well, thank you, Dark Knight Norris.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day. Thanks for chilling with us for a little while anyway. But yeah, this was not so much of, like, a, oh my god, like, how tone deaf. But it's a 6-issue miniseries, Dark Crisis Young Justice. Which, I don't know. It's a great title. I just think that's funny. The way it rolls off the tongue, just sounds like something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's written by Megan Fitzmartin with art by Laura Braga. in this story, they're just like, okay, so Wonder Girl Cassie Sandsmark, like, what's her opinion about the Dark Crisis, about the death of the Justice League? And how about what's her opinion about like everything around her? Like, what does she think about her former teammates from Young Justice, like Impulse and Superboy and Robin, in particular, specifically them? And yeah, it's interesting because like there's this on one hand, this is a love letter to like the 90s era, like the late 90s, like the Young Justice era of DC, where it's like there is a subset of the audience who remembers that shit and like misses it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a book that is going to be kind of like, don't be too precious about your nostalgia and about your like affinity for a period when you got into comics. I think that's what this is trying to be.
Why would you do that to Young Justice, though? I mean, there's just so many other...
Right. Well, it's like kicking a dog when it's down. Like the book is already canceled. Bendis tried to invigorate it. Like Bendis literally did the exact opposite, where he's like, what if they came back? What if it was big and fun and new?
Right.
And then it got canceled. And then somebody just showed up out of nowhere from like, the Arrowverse and was like, I'll write this. So yeah, but on a positive note, it is I think it is like a subversive love letter to like nostalgia and late 90s, early 2000s DC Comics. That's the highest form of praise I could possibly give this book. Cassie is either like written poorly or in a really, I mean, she's in a really dark place, and so she's incredibly judgmental. And I don't remember, like, from what I remember of her stories, like, I don't remember. I remember her being handled with more subtlety. I don't know. Like, she's very judgmental, and in this, where she's like, she looks at those three characters and then just basically goes like, I loved Superboy, Tim Drake sucks, and so does Impulse. Like, they're just terrible. And then and then proceeds to like talk about how there's no place for them in this world. Nobody cares about them. Nobody regards them. They never grow out of their own shadow, blah, blah, blah. And then like they're all talking with each other about like their futures because the Justice League is dead. And they're like, well, there's a moment in which someone, I think it's Impulse, says, do you think they'll put up do you think they'll do this kind of a memorial when we die? And Superboy says, they didn't when we did last time. And it's just kind of like this, like we'll never be remembered. We'll never be revered. They're never going to care about us. And then Cassie's like, look at us all standing here pretending like we are friends, or like we've like things haven't changed and like the past hasn't happened. And like we didn't all come back from the dead. And I wish a couple of you didn't. And I'm like, what? It's just it's chock full of like one-sided melodrama. Like all of it is from Cassie. She's the protagonist. She's the point of view character. So obviously it's all going to come from her. But it reeks of judgment and like this kind of desperate attempt at subversion and like meta text, where it's like, let me talk about nostalgia and how toxic that is, and let me talk about like history and how toxic that can be if you look at it through rose-tinted glasses. And it's like, okay, you could do that, but not with Dark Crisis, a book that celebrates the past. You know what I mean? Like it's like no, I'm not going to even make, because Deep Space Nine is a good show. I'm not going to say like it's like the Deep Space Nine to the TNG, because it's like TNG is like, look at the idealized version of the Federation, and the Deep Space Nine is like, yeah, but we got to get our hands dirty to do it. And that's what this is, where it's like, look at legacy and history, yay, but it's like, yeah, except for these three. But like, no, it's not like Deep Space Nine, because Deep Space Nine is good, and this isn't. Also the art is like really stiff. Like it's trying to be homage to the art of the 90s / 2000, really late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay.
And it's just not successful. It's not bad art. It's not even like unprofessional art. It's professional level, but I think the attempt at trying to capture that feel and that look is failing. It is actually hurting it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a place for that type of message, right? Because sometimes nostalgia can be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, there is a point. An argument can be made.
Yeah, but I don't know if this is where to plant that flag.
It's like they had to put it out. That's what this feels like.
Mm.
And not because the book had to come out.
Mm.
Like, this felt like a contractual obligation to give them work to do.
Right.
And I don't know that, and I'm not even going to say that's true. I'm just
Okay.
saying that's how the book comes across.
Right.
It's not very good, and I can't believe there's 6 issues, and I suspect there won't be.
Well, we'll see.
Like, I feel like after 2, they're going to go, can you wrap it up in 4? I don't know anyone that enjoyed this.
Okay.
And I looked for
Well,
it.
that sucks because I know there's like a really like if you like Young Justice, you have a passion for it.
And I think there's passion in this book. Like, I think there is a passion, but like, I don't know if it's like,
You don't know if it's for the characters as much as for like a message.
I think it's just like, I genuinely think it's just an attempt to make a mark.
That's a shame.
And
That's
at the expense of character.
That sucks.
Yeah, but that book, it was not great. Chase Wellings, hey guys, have you read Submariner: The Depths? It's a Namor horror comic from the Marvel Knights imprint. I think you might dig it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chase. Chase. I remember hearing about it. I never read it, so I'll have to check it out.
I was looking at it at one point.
Oh yeah,
for a Halloween.
Kingsport Cal, getting ready for work. Tiffany, those earrings slap. Also, X-Men has always been an intellectual beacon in comics. Yeah.
Thank you. They're
Well,
stars.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I mean, X-Men has always attempted to do that.
Yes, and I think at times they have.
Yes, I agree. What other books did you read?
Moon Knight this week.
Yeah, of course you did.
Moon Knight number 12 by Jed McKay with art by Alessandro Cappuccio.
Yay.
Okay. So, I actually had to go back because I hadn't read issue 11.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I opened this book up, I was like,
what?
Damn it.
Like, I have to go back.
Yeah, I had to go back. And when I read issue 11, I was like, okay, right. So Zodiac is just, okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with this sentence I'm about to say.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily saying it in a bad way
right.
at all either. Okay. It's just that it feels like Jed McKay had a Batman Joker story.
Oh my God.
But wasn't writing Batman. So it's a Moon Knight story now.
Oh my God. Look, there's a very...
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. And
because,
listen, like, Denny O'Neil's Denny O'Neil's written the same Batman story 4 times.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Because here's why. Because in issue 11, which I didn't get a chance to talk about, but so we're gonna kind of do a combo here.
Mm-hmm.
Zodiac's basically like, laying down his plan. Like he's just like, I'm gonna monologue.
Okay.
Because like he's all about like being who you're supposed to be, and like this like superhero, this guy this guy chained to friends and a mission and duty. That's not Moon Knight. And I'm like, oh, this is like your Batman should get rid of the Bat family.
Right. Story. It's death of the family for Moon Knight.
It's like that's not Moon Knight, and that breaks my heart because he's got so much potential, but he's afraid. And I'm like,
yeah. Okay.
Right.
Like
it was just those in particular. I was like, just feels like
you want to do Batman.
You want to do something else with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. This kind of like it doesn't even wrap up the Moon Knight Zodiac issues here.
Yeah.
Basically, Moon Knight and others are in Jersey. Shout out to Jersey, by the way. Oh no, they're not. Yes, they are in Jersey.
I'm assuming that doesn't look or feel like.
No, it doesn't matter. We barely see it. They're in Jersey. I just want to point out in Marvel and XMen.
Yes.
Number 12 as well.
Yeah.
They mentioned
a particularly evil part of
Jersey, right? And when they come out, because it's like where Nathaniel Essex has been the whole time, is this Essex 508? There is, in fact, a county road 508 that runs through Essex County in New Jersey. I just wanted to point that out. I thought that was a very nice touch to try to tie those together, that somehow Nathaniel Essex had something to do with Essex County.
I like that a lot.
Anyway, back to Moon Knight. Basically they're there, but like back at the mission, it's like a supernatural mission. Zodiac's there with like all these guys that he hired using the money he stole from Moon Knight. Remember when Joker stole all of Batman's money?
Yes.
But that like Reese the vampire is still inside with Soldier, and like he's like, I'm gonna kill, like if she doesn't come out, like I'm gonna start killing people, because like someone's gonna die next. Either be her or the people out here, and you're all in Jersey, Moon Knight. You can't save them, but that's okay because Moon Knight prays to Khonshu.
Yep.
Over and over again, calling for Khonshu. It's a really great set of like panels. Until finally he calls him father, and that's when Khonshu shows up, and he's just like, I'm stuck. You put me here, like I'm trapped.
Right.
So like I can't help you, and he's like, I know you can because you helped the other guy.
Right.
So I know you can. And he's like, it's going to cost you. He's like, I don't care. So what he does is he basically opens up the pathway, and he and Tigra make a run through it. The pathway goes through basically the resting place of Moon Knights. So all these Moon Knight mummies wake up and they're chasing them. But that's okay, because back in New York in the mission, Zodiac is like fooled for a moment. They buy some time because Soldier puts on the Mr. Knight suit and goes out there.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Zodiac fires up his gun at him. Reese gets in the way. It goes right through him because she doesn't know the caliber of bullet, and presumably he has died or is bleeding out. I don't know.
Right.
But it's all good because Moon Knight shows up and he's just like, haha, I'm here. And he's just like, you can't beat me, man. You can't beat me. And he's like, what are you gonna do? Like, beat me with your fists? Like, I took down the other guy.
Right.
Like, I got him over here. He's knocked out. What are you gonna do? He's like, no, it's not gonna be my fists. And that's when all the other Moon Knights come pouring out. And I guess they have a hierarchy of like who they're going to attack. So they attack all the bad guys first.
Okay.
Zodiac's like, I really didn't see this coming.
Sure.
And he makes a run for it. He's just like, okay, well, I can't control this. I have to leave. So he runs. Reese chases after him because he killed Soldier. She's going to like kill him. And Moon Knight's like, don't do that. Because like, that's not who you are. He's like, but it's who I am.
Right. Okay.
So he's going to kill him. But not because of the fact that like he's like no, and then it's okay.
Okay.
Because
does he turn to Jake Lockley and then we don't get to see what happens and then just cut to the aftermath instead?
It's not the aftermath necessarily. Is it Jake Lockley or is it the other?
I was making Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, and Jake Lockley.
I think it's Stephen Grant.
Stephen Grant's the rich one.
Yes, Stephen Grant shows up and he's like, I'm not a big fan of violence, but here I am.
Okay.
I believe. Feel free to correct me, Jim. But so it just ends weird. Issue 12 ends weird. It's just like, ta-da, I'm here now. And Zodiac's like, you can't see him in the frame anymore. So he probably escaped. Or didn't.
Right, of course.
Or I don't know.
Well, that's very much like the end of the show.
Yes. So
there you have it. Well, what'd you think?
I mean, here's the thing. I like this book. It was weird coming to like feeling like this was a, plot for another book, but I know it's not because you can't do any of that with Batman. It was just weird because I was like, this is so funny because it feels like someone being like, I am tired of like Batman having a family and like Moon Knight shouldn't have a family. I'm like, who the hell cares?
You gave him the family, man. Like he didn't have that before.
So it's just strange. But
it'd be like Grant Morrison being mad that Damian exists. But yeah.
So that's what we got.
Cool.
There.
Moon Knight.
And like, again, I don't think it's bad. It's just, it wasn't the strongest that I've read so far.
Right.
From
because you've enjoyed the series.
I really have. And
by and large.
It's not that I didn't. It's just this issue 12 just felt weirdly paced. I don't know what it was. So that's what I got.
Well, JJ Turner helps us out. Thank you very much, JJ. B Black says, curious what Tiffany thinks of Ms. Marvel so far.
I really like it. I actually really, really am enjoying the show. I think it's like, well, I know I mentioned mise en scène last time.
Yeah.
Not last time, but another time we were talking about, I think, for Stranger Things.
Yeah.
But this show has really great mise en scène. I think it's like, it's just really well laid out. All the scenes feel cared about. The lighting in this show is like next level for me, honestly. Like I seen things that are better lit? Sure. But like, it's just, you look at the show and you think to yourself, someone really cared about this. Someone really cared about this. Like, it's just a group of people who seem to really have a passion for this show. I feel like the spirit is, I think, in line with the book. It's fun. Is it scaled maybe towards a more youthful audience? Absolutely. I think so. But I think everyone can get some level of enjoyment at it if you're interested in it. I think they put it out at the wrong time. I think it went up against too many strong things. Obi-Wan, Stranger Things. It was really bad timing. They should have waited a little bit and let it come out on its own. But I really, really honestly enjoy it. It's just fun. The actors, I think they're all great. They're all excellent actors. Even, they're younger. They're not children, but they're younger actors sometimes. It's a struggle. They're learning their craft. Occasionally you find a spectacular actor where it's like, wow. I think they're doing a great job. I think they stand really well against the adult actors in the scene. I really like her parents. I think they do a fantastic job. They feel real. But like especially her dad. You know, I think about, of course, the Marvel Avengers game, even though I'm like a big fan of it, but I think of him from that, like just that, like that kindness and that, like that love that he displays there. I think that's probably just a through line for his character. You get it there. You absolutely get it. So you get like the sensation of we're watching something comic booky, but there's like a sense of like real family love there. And I think there's also something kind of occasionally educational about it. Like, you know, getting an idea, a peek into at least a like Disneyfied and like show version of culture. So I like it.
Yeah. He asked you, so I wanted to give that breath.
Thanks.
Girk Pectus, what do you think of the Obi-Wan show? I hated it. Reminds me of that POS GB Afterlife movie fan service shoved into your throat in retcons. I don't talk about Star Wars in this channel, so we're not going to talk about Star Wars in this channel.
Oh, can I also make mention, if you're from New Jersey, because don't forget Ms. Marvel is set in New Jersey.
Yeah, Jersey City.
Those two Bon Jovi things were hilarious.
Yes.
And you may not have even picked up on that.
No, but it was funny. But Jersey City does not look anything like that.
Was it Brown Jovi?
Brown Jovi, yeah.
And then they also played a Bon Jovi song.
Yes.
You know, Bruce and Bon Jovi are, you know, sons of New Jersey.
That's right, yeah.
So it was appropriate. They probably could afford Bon Jovi.
I feel like there was a choice and they made the frugaler decision of it. Yeah. JJ Turner, how will Superman and Batman being public domain in 10 years affect the comics business? I doubt they will be, and I'm sure it won't affect the comic book business in any way. So there you have it. What about your X-Men books? You got one more?
Yeah, I do have one more. So I read Immortal X-Men this week, and I saved this one for the last just cause. So
of
this
course.
is written by Kieran Gillen with art by Lunas Warnock. Listen, if you don't like Destiny, get over it. You got to read this book.
Yeah, we use some theories about that too, which we'll get into.
Destiny drives me freaking insane, but Kieran Gillen writes a damn good book and just gets me over it anyway. Here's what you need to take away from this. Destiny's having a freak out, right? Last issue, like something happened to her, and they're like, oh no, and like
Mystique, she need to write things down.
Not this time. She's literally just collapsed on the ground. And like, so this time we come into this issue dealing with the aftermath of that. Emma's there, Mystique's there. Emma's like, I need to look into her brain.
Right.
And like Mystique doesn't want her to do that.
Of course.
She ends up doing it. She's like, she's seeing a lot of images right now. I can't make heads or tails of this, but it's making me a little sick.
Yeah.
They go to a council meeting, but like essentially she's like, we have to go. You don't have to go. I don't think Xavier's going to do anything today. He promised he wouldn't because like Storm's off world and like they're not going to do any big like votes today. And she's like, no, I'm going to go because like she said if like she was going to die this time, she'd have to tell me. She promised me she'd tell me.
Okay.
So they go to the meeting. At the meeting though, basically they fill Hope in on everything that's been going on. Right. Like, and that is basically coming to the meeting. It's like, and that's the last secret of Krakoa.
Right.
And Hope's like, why don't we just tell everybody? We should just tell everybody about that. Like, we should just tell all of Krakoa. And they're like, we can't do that.
Right.
We can't. No. And she's like, yeah, but you gave me the helmet, Xavier. Why would you do that? If you knew what was going to happen when I brought Destiny back, why would you give me the helmet?
Yeah.
And he's like, I didn't.
Oh.
Which we knew. He's like, I didn't give you the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yes, you did. You were there. I saw you. I saw you do it. And they're like going back and forth a little bit. And then Mr. Sinister's like, that's weird because Magneto came to me and asked me for all of Destiny's DNA. And then like he's like, but if it wasn't me, the shapeshifter, and turns himself into Mystique for a moment, like just like it's his body as a woman with his costume and her head. And he's like, then who could it be? Mystique like freaks out and she's like, It's revealed obviously that it was Mystique.
Yeah.
Xavier has a meltdown about that.
Good. It's about time.
And like,
does he do anything?
No. Well, he
sounds about right.
He gives them a really hard time about it because like he's like, we need to do it. Like, she needs to, like, this is a problem. What happened is a problem, right?
Yeah.
And like Kitty says something about, not liking his like politics or whatever, the way that things are being handled. And essentially he's like, you know what? I'm kind of tired of all this. I'm tired of all of you giving me a hard time because like Eric and I and Moira, you may not like us now, or you might not like what's going on.
Right. But we did this.
But we did all this. We sacrificed so that you could do whatever you wanted with it. And like literally, there's just a panel where no one's saying anything. And then Destiny shows up.
Right.
Because while this was all going on, while this is all unfolding, and there's all this narration from Destiny about how she's like, I wish I could be there with her because I would tell her to calm down, but she wouldn't listen anyway, but I can help guide her through this. She's having visions. And like, she brings back the fact that she's like, when I was 13,
right,
her gifts emerged. And she's like, I saw the future. And we see selected images from various X titles and other such things, right? And she's like, and now their future reveals to me again. And we see this image, this split of like all these different possibilities, one of which is Gillen's Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Going on, right? So we see that, and then we see something where it looks like the X-Men have like sinister marks on them, right?
Yeah.
We see Exodus being like at the top of a mountain, like with people like reaching up to him as though
He's doing the thing that Hope said.
Yes, like he becomes
if people believe in him, yeah.
We see a facility that has what looks like Magneto's helmet, a Sentinel helmet, and something else on the top of it.
Mhm.
Could be Wakandan.
Oh, it looks like,
It's
yeah,
hard to tell.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see one with magic where she's in her like demonic form.
Yes.
And she's like
her Dark Child form.
Yes, and she's slaying the X-Men.
Right.
And then we see like another person at the bottom, like making hands. Could it be Moira? Could it be Cassandra Nova?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I gotta tell you, all of those, none of those sound interesting to me.
Well,
I love that. Like they're like, ladies and gentlemen, Marvel's X-Men. Here you go. This is the future of where we're going with this. And I'm like, none of that sounds cool.
Here's really what it is, because like what she's seeing though is a bunch of ends, right? Not all of them, but many endings, right?
Mhm.
And so like then we see a like sort of graph.
Yes.
Where like she talks about like, okay, a lot of these end very abruptly, and I don't understand why. Why would they end so abruptly? Right. Like what's going on here? So we see a bunch of different things like Judgment Day, which is what we're going into. And that can branch off into a couple of different things. A new Krakoa, the Nimrod extinction event. Nimrod extinction event occurs a lot in this graph, right?
Right.
Like there's always a
because
possibility
we know
that
that's
Nimrod
coming.
It's gonna do that.
Yeah.
Like there's literally one where it's like, now Nimrod extinction event. That could just happen.
Right.
We don't do anything else. We just do that.
Yeah.
A Cassandra supernova.
Okay.
The Reign of Apocalypse, which I'm like, could be kind of cool.
Yep. That's like the Hickman one.
Yes. So there's a bunch of different ones, right? And essentially some of them match up with what we see. Like, for example, the Empire of the Red Diamond. Clearly that's the X-Men.
That's the X-Men
right?
becoming Sinister Drones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then followed by the Storm System. Is that going to happen? Probably not.
Probably not.
But it's like, oh, what?
Hopefully not.
Could we wait a single issue about that?
Oh, totally. Could those all be miniseries or at the very least one like double-sized one-shots? Yes.
Sure, why not?
Probably.
But we see one play out a little bit. We see the Jean Corsairs, which I thought to myself, oh, that must be about Corsair. No, it's another sinister plot.
Oh my god.
We need to deal with, because don't forget, Immortal X-Men had that conversation between
Yes.
Destiny and Sinister. So like it makes sense
Mm-hmm.
because he revealed to her, she revealed to him information. So in it, Exodus is like has done what Hope said, and he's like everyone loves him in the fall, and he's like basically at like
maximum power,
and like Sinister's one of the last, if not the last, beings alive. Like racing like against him, catches up with him and is going to kill him.
Right.
And like Destiny's like, I need something to figure out how we got here, what happened.
Right.
He's like, luckily for me, it's Nathaniel Essex. So of course he can't help himself. He has to like monologue.
Yeah.
So he's just going on and on and on about it, right? And like essentially he's like, it doesn't matter if you kill me because I've already taken care of this. It won't matter. I will win anyway. And he dies and it goes black.
Right.
And she's like, what happened? It just ended. And he's like, the only person who could do that is Moira. Oh no. And she pieces it together that Mr. Sinister has Moira clones.
Yes. Which we saw.
Yes, which we saw.
But they don't know about.
But nobody else knew about. But now Destiny knows that there are Moira clones out there.
Yeah.
And that the idea here is that Nathaniel Essex, well, Mr. Sinister, can kill one of them. And when it was created, go back to that point.
Right.
And like kind of save Scum his game, basically.
Oh, I see.
To be like, I don't like that. Go back.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Go back.
Mm-hmm.
So now she has that information. She says that a war is coming within weeks.
Well, that's Judgment Day.
It's Judgment Day, which is fine because Gillen's writing this book.
Right. So he's setting that
Gillen's
up.
writing this book. He's going to set it up that we're going to deal with that. Right. But because of that, like essentially everyone kind of forgets what Professor X says.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we'll have to figure that out. And and like Hope can keep the helm.
The helm.
Like,
yeah.
So Destiny's like, luckily this is happening because everything I've done could be made like to be undone. But like everyone kind of ignores it and moves on. And I'm like, so this book's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's frustrating to me because like Destiny for me right now feels like, again, another instance of like wanting to ignore Moira.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to deal with that. right? And again, like, it could have been that this is where Hickman wanted Moira to go. I hope we wouldn't have like done such incredible character building and changing of characters. And then have it like be like, now she's a robot thing, whatever.
Yeah, well, now we want to do Terminator.
Right, but it just feels like not Hickman-y.
Yeah, well, and I think it's decidedly not. Like, it's
right? Like,
yeah.
But Destiny kind of like being like, I know the future, and like if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't know that this war was coming. It's like
okay, great, but like we had that already. Like we had that already set up.
Yeah, she's like, actually, you should be thanking me. You should be thanking Mystique because like without her, like I wouldn't be here. So actually,
right, actually, if you weren't here, we wouldn't have had any of the Moira bullshit. Like it wouldn't have ended. But okay.
That's meta reading it. So
yeah,
you can't really do that.
There's no way they're not aware of that though.
But it is Kieran Gillen. I do trust him quite a bit.
Yeah, he's a great writer.
He's a very skilled writer. I may not like this character, but I really like the stories he tells, and so I'm going to continue reading this. And like I said, you can check out. I don't think that like what we see there is like, oh my gosh, these are all the things that
it's not like
happen.
Yeah, it's not like all the other times Marvel's done that where they show you the board.
No, I think it very much is just Gillen having a little fun.
Right. Yeah.
But it is interesting because it's like he is pulling from things that are going on right now. We're dealing a lot with Sinister. We know Sinister's got clones out the wazoo, and we have Nathaniel Essex now running around as well. We have Magic, who is having an issue with Limbo, and they're trying to deal with that and the fact that she doesn't have control over it anymore and can't pass it to Madeline Pryor.
All of those could be things that actually happen in this timeline.
Sure.
And then just be resolved.
Right. Like Mr. Sinister could make his own thing, and then they're like,
and then when they kill them, and then that's that.
And who cares?
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. Just kind of, I like reading the names of things and trying to imagine what it could be. It's it's kind of fun.
Yeah, Cassandra Supernova, like what? It's funny. Girk Pectus says, have you read Cyclops Phoenix, the comic that's Mr. Sinister's origin? I think it's very underrated. I love the impending horror feel of what Sinister will become. I have not read it, but I do have it. And I remember it being a big deal when it came out, and like people refer to it quite often. So yeah, I can imagine that. Somebody asked us if we're going to the Comic Fest, the Garden State Comic Fest in Morristown. It's coming up in the next couple of weeks. Ask them if we were invited. I think you'll be surprised by the answer. The answer is no, we were not invited.
Well, we couldn't go.
Yeah, we might pop in one of the days. So Amazing Spider-Man number 4, Zeb Wells, John Romita Jr., the most decompressed run on Spider-Man I've ever read in my life. Again, by the way, solid cover. It's 4 issues of John Romita Jr. consistently performing what you'd expect from John Romita Jr. or what you should expect from John Romita Jr. at this point. Good looking book. Zeb Wells, of course, is like wrapping it up. Again, not a lot of like plots going on, but Spider-Man is saved from his shackles by a criminal that he had rescued earlier in this story specifically.
I want to correct myself before.
Oh, please, go ahead.
I already can't. I can't beat the comments to this one.
No.
I said Zeb Wells before. I meant Jed MacKay.
No, you said Jed MacKay.
Did I?
Yeah.
I really think I said Zeb Wells at one point.
We talked about Jed MacKay.
Okay, good.
I mean, it's established.
Well, just in case.
Yeah.
This is the timestamp where I tried to correct myself if I was wrong.
Yeah. But so Spider-Man frees himself, or gets freed. He doesn't free himself. He's actually quite the jobber. But he is rescued by a criminal that he rescued earlier in this series. So payback. He was tormented and teased by Tombstone, who said, we're going to impersonate the Rose's crew and cause this massacre, and there's nothing you can do about it. So Spider-Man's just like, I don't have any like time. Oh, and I'm also going to I'm going to take down Robbie Robertson too. Meh. So like he leaves to go do that because like Randy Robertson's wants to propose to Tombstone's daughter, who's also the Beetle, and he's like, nah. So Spider-Man like tears through the facility and kicks ass, and he's just like, I can't think, I just gotta punch and beat everybody, and he does, and he makes mincemeat out of all these people. He also calls Randy on the phone, and he's like, Tombstone's gonna kill your dad. I don't have time to explain anything. So I guess we're gonna have Randy find out that he's Spider-Man. I don't know. We'll see. So Randy tears ass to go rescue his father. Tombstone does lure Randy to his location. What we discover is that it's actually a double cross. Tombstone invited Robbie to toast their unification of their families and the like impending nuptials of their children. So gotcha. Also, Tombstone lied to Spider-Man and told him that actually, I'm not going to impersonate the Rose's crew. That's just was the Rose's plan.
What?
So now he used Spider-Man to take down the Rose, his competition.
Oh, okay.
Right. That's how this book feels. Okay. Like, this felt like the end of issue 6. It's issue 4, but also nothing happened in the last 4 issues. So it's super decompressed. It was it like, does it paint Tombstone in a clever light? Like, yeah, Tombstone is not just some stupid thug. He's smart. He used Spider-Man. He taught Spider-Man a lesson. I can manipulate you into doing my dirty work for me. Okay. Seen that done, and I don't care. Like, admittedly, is it clever? Theoretically. On paper, yeah. On this paper, meh. You know? Because Spider-Man doesn't have anyone in his life. Like, he's so isolated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no one to feel bad with. There's no one to sympathize with. There's no one to, like, talk to. It's just him with his failure. But he's been failing for 4 whole issues in a row. So it's like, just more failure. Which, like, as if you graduated from the Dan Slott School of Spider-Man writing, like, you have to bring him low or bring him high to bring him to the lowest point. But you got to put him at the lowest point so that he can make these meteoric highs. You know, that's what you got to do with the serialized storytelling. And it's just like, you know, it's a pretty well written book with some decent art that, like, would have had 4 other things going on if it had come out 25 years ago, which is about how old this plot feels.
Okay.
You know, it's just like, oh well.
Sorry.
That's so great that it's just that you're oh yeah, that's what this book is. Like, because it's not bad. It's just not worth.
Well, maybe they're just getting like, you know, it's a slow burn.
Yeah, that's true. And at how much per issue?
I think it says $3.99.
$3.99 an issue?
Well,
$12? For 4 issues.
That's $16 for 4
Yeah,
issues.
$16. Not worth it. Josh Crowdy, the twist at the end of ASM4 was my favorite Spidey moment in years. Wells is killing this run so far. See, that's why he's not going to be off the book anytime soon.
Right. Well, but I think that's like, how about this? I'd rather have some people really enjoying it than like have just a critically panned run.
Right? Yeah.
Like who knows? Maybe
like the end of Spencer's run, where it was just like no one was enjoying it.
Yeah.
Including Spencer.
Right. Like, so maybe next, like he'll get his feet wet and then he'll really hit the ground running. You know,
I mean, the fact is, this is the book.
I mean, again, he's like a key part of Spider-Man's cast is going to be involved
in the Hellfire Gala.
Yeah, which is in 2 weeks. So maybe they're like, you need to.
Yeah. Somebody asked if like if Marvel forgot they made Moira into Mary Jane. She's Mary Jane to go to the Hellfire Gala. They didn't forget. It's just that there hasn't been a gala yet.
Right. So like, I'm just wondering if like the decompression you're feeling is like he needs to stretch it out,
delay it
to like after that, so that like.
Yeah, except I don't think she's Mary Jane in this book. Because like remember they like set it up where she's got the children.
Yeah,
and
but
she's
if
married
something happens that's newsworthy, it's gonna like, I don't know, like maybe it's just a timing issue.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It could be.
I would wait to see after the Hellfire Gala how you're feeling about it.
I didn't even think about the Hellfire Gala. It's so funny. Like, what if the whole damn thing is just like, no, there's no kids. That's Moira. Those are clones from Madeline Pryor. Like, I don't know. It's a weird marriage of X-Men and Spider-Man.
Well, I know what it's not a weird marriage of.
Peter and Mary Jane. Devin Love and howdy, guys. Glad to catch you. Curious as to which mutant is your favorite. A tie between Havoc and Kurt for me. Have a great evening.
That's like an impossible question for me. It's easily a tie between Storm and Rogue. I really do love both of them so much.
Right?
Just so much.
Yeah. I like Wolverine. I also like Nightcrawler a lot.
I know you do.
I wanted to like Colossus, but like he's never really done anything for me. Like,
no,
I like his look.
And right now he's a complete tool.
Yeah, he's always been a tool. If we're being honest with each other, like he indicated he had personality and that he was like his own person, but he's really not.
I think,
and I like Old Beast.
That's fair.
So I'm like, hey, die in Otherworld. Maybe you'll become real Beast. Anything to fix Beast. But yeah, so that's those are the books this week. Let's talk about some books that we recommend we think you should pick up.
Heck yeah.
So Batman Catwoman number 12 comes out tomorrow. That is to say Tuesday. DC Tuesdays, fart. But yeah, no, it's the culmination of Tom King's entire Batman run from like his issue 1 of Rebirth to now. So if you're interested, check it out. I've been enjoying the series, especially now that Clayman is back on the title. And it's been an interesting ride. I've liked it more than other things that he's written for Batman. She-Hulk number 4 comes out. I love this series. It's very much just like kind of like a romance book. Like it's like a slice of life kind of series. But I like the art. I like the story. I think it's fun. I think it's worth checking out if you enjoy it, or if you would enjoy that kind of thing. I haven't read any of the tie-ins for DC Vampires, but apparently DC vs. Vampires Killers number 1 comes out. That may be one of the first tie-ins for the series. I'm enjoying DC vs. Vampires, so we'll see if it's anything.
Nice.
But yeah. What about you?
I'm gonna give a shout out to X-Force number 29. It's coming out. I like this book and I don't like this book. Like it's fine. I don't know. I get what people really like are infatuated with it, much like I have like an infatuation with Knights of X and Excalibur. Like it's kind of a genre thing. There's nothing wrong with it though. But yeah, that's coming out. X-Men Red number 4 is coming out
already.
Again, remember we had like some delays.
We had a little bit of a break.
So like there were some delays in there. So that's coming out. Cannot wait. Literally cannot wait just to see where that goes next.
Yep.
Sabretooth 4 is coming out. I feel like Sabretooth has been away for a while.
Yes.
And again, could have gotten caught up in that whole whatever. And 8 Billion Genies number 2 is coming out. So I definitely got to check that out.
Yeah, you're not going to recommend Task Force Z number 9?
Well, I can't because I didn't read the last one.
That's okay.
I feel like I definitely should not be the person who's like, oh my gosh, go check that out. Because I couldn't even be bothered to read the last issue.
That's fair.
It's just not.
I think I read the last issue.
I think you did too. And I was like, why did you do that?
Because I'd heard about it.
It's like one of us always must read Task Force.
Yeah, someone's got to read Task Force
for no reason whatsoever.
At some point. But yeah, so those are the books that are coming out this week. We think you should check out. Don't forget to like this video.
Well, again, not that we're necessarily keeping up with it, but like I know a lot of people out there really like Robin. So Robin number 15 is coming out. So if you are a fan, don't forget to check that out.
Yeah, I think it's it's getting to the end of Joshua Williamson's run, and it's leading into it's definitely gonna be part of Dark Crisis.
And they can't help themselves. They have to do an
Death
homage.
Of the Family reference. Fantastic.
Listen, you get a chance, you're going to do it.
Yeah, I guess
they held off for a while. They held off for 14 issues.
That's true. Dan Dragon says, I was planning to read Spider-Man today, but then I thought, do I really want to read this issue of Spider-Man? And then I said out loud, no. So there you have it. I'm going to read the old EU Star Wars again.
Very nice.
There you go. Enjoy. I saw somebody recommend a really good idea, which is just adapt the Legends series into like animated like movies.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's a really, really good idea.
Yeah, I would watch the hell out of that.
Oh, right.
Listen, Disney, if you're just like desperate for content,
right? If they're desperate for content, get like Warner Animation or something, and just be like, we're gonna make Shadows, we're gonna make Heir to the Empire trilogy, we're gonna make like the Darksaber trilogy, like just.
Then you can make a little list there that's like, this doesn't matter anymore.
Exactly.
But you can watch it if you want it.
Right? Yeah, that'd be kind of neat.
Yeah.
But anyway, we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like the video, and follow Tiffany on twitch.tv/ComicPop. And of course, check out this channel for more content. If you want more updates, check out the community tab. And of course, follow us on Twitter. We'll see you guys next time with an all new episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody.
Bye.